favorite marker color, my favorite expo marker color to use in the classroom is purple.
Ooh.
I actually asked Karen to get me special purple markers because the first time they brought those in, I was like, oh.
But you can actually,
cool.
you can place custom orders? Why am I hearing about this now?
No, well, she ordered them first, and I liked them so much, and they disappeared. So I was like, can you get more of the purples?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, like I have ones that I have I'm like my inner squirrel keeps them aside because I desperately want to make sure I've got something different. And so I've got the standard color, but then my special ones where I want to make something especially provocative or profound goes in a different color. And I'm trying to teach the kids that they will then be like, oh, there's a eulism.
Oh.
Very good.
Has so far has fallen flat, but not through lack of effort on my part.
What is your special color?
Well, see, now if I tell you that, you interpreter go into my classroom and steal it because that's...
So you have a different color from everyone else in the school.
Yeah, I actually purchased... I can't even tell you this. Like, this is like privileged information that you're going to be in
like
there.
Pastel?
No, but it's
neon?
It's a... Okay, fine. It's a light lime green.
Ooh.
Okay.
And it's just that much different that people kind of go like, ooh. Yeah, like it provokes some kind of visceral response. So
some people like red, but I have noticed standing at the back of the classroom that you can't see that very well.
You're literally the only educator who would notice that. Just throwing that out there. But that's my kind of wheelhouse too. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I stand back there. I'm like, oh, weird. I can't see the red very well. But black, purple, dark blue, those are probably the most visible. Anyways, we're boring you, Kacie. I'm sorry.
No, I love watching those videos on TikTok where they're reviewing the like pens on the board and they're like writing.
Really?
And they write like the name of the like color on the board and they rate it. And like there's really smooth ones that you can buy that are like 10 out of 10.
You're talking about whiteboard markers?
Yeah. Are you guys not talking about whiteboard markers?
Yeah, we are. But there's ones that are smoother than...
But you've now provoked Kung's interest.
The Expo kind?
Yes. Absolutely correct.
How could it be smoother? I don't understand.
It's like the different colors, like, I don't know, the pigments maybe. And they like open it brand new. And like some of them are like absolutely phenomenal and so satisfying to like see them write it. And then others are just like streaky and like 0 out of 10, honestly.
So now we have to call Kung's wife to say Kung will be home late because he has to stop at Staples on the way home.
Well, yeah,
you should do videos of that reviewing Expo markers. The kids would love it.
Yeah, but Expo is probably just the regular brand. I'm sure there's much more expensive markers out there.
Statler.
Well, going back a century to chalk, they had these Japanese chalk makers that were very... Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And all these professors around the world were like hoarding this Japanese chalk because they were going out of business. So there's like literally stacks of these boxes in like back rooms and universities where they've hoarded this stuff because it's so smooth to write with, apparently. I've never tried it myself.
But now we're going to have to hunt some down and try it.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're not like your Crayola or whatever brands. They're special.
Do you happen to know a name brand for this, Kung?
I forget the name brand.
Oh,
I would have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Add that to your to-do list.
Yeah, I don't have this chalk. I just have the Crayola ones. I do have chalk, though, which I have no place to write it on.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. Again, sorry, Kacie, for boring you with chalk talk. But you're talking about social media and, you're talking about reviews of whiteboards, whiteboard markers. I guess you probably, being on social media yourself, you probably have a lot of connections with people on social media who are creators.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, a lot of my crochet friends are online. And it's fun to talk to them about different things and even their experience on social media, like what is the best time to post, like what hour of the day, or their experiences just with different things. Even with like... tips for crochet and stuff like that. It's nice to talk to somebody that has like experience and everything like that. But yeah, it's a really nice community to be part of. There's not a lot of kind of competition, I'd say. It's very...
You're helping each other out.
Yeah, exactly. Some parts of it can be very drama intensive, but I don't really follow that kind of thing. But the community that I've built for myself I'd say is very nice and very supportive, which is nice.
So do you have like hangouts and stuff like that?
Not so much hangouts, just because a lot of them don't live in Vancouver. Like they're all around the world kind of thing.
Right.
I have met up with a couple of people that have been living in Vancouver, which was nice as well, just to, chat with and kind of see what their experiences have been. But yeah, it's always nice to even like just talking to somebody on like the bus or something if I'm crocheting and they're like, oh, I've crocheted before. It's nice to just have that like, common interest and just see,
That's cool.
how they...
Now, what year did you graduate from Delview?
2018.
2018.
Yes.
So 2018, were you crocheting all the way back then?
No, not at all.
No?
No. I started in 2020, I'd say. During the...
we know why.
Yep. I had nothing better to do. And I saw a bunch of videos online. Actually, that was what inspired me to start.
Yeah.
During that time, I was trying a lot of different hobbies because I'm very artistic, I'd say. So I like to like paint and draw and do like air dry clay stuff. And I saw like lots of videos of people making plushies online. And I was like, oh, that looks so interesting. So I watched YouTube videos on how to do it. And I went to the thrift store and I bought like a little bit of yarn and a hook. And I tried it out. And I was like, oh, this is really hard. This is not, I don't know if I can do this. So I made like a little dish square. Dish cloth thing. And I was like, well, I don't know if this is really, I'm just going to keep trying new things kind of thing. So I put it down for probably a couple of months. And then I was like, oh, I was cleaning up my stuff and I found the yarn and I was like, oh, I'm going to try to make like a plushie. That was my like original intent. And then I never did it back then. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to like watch another YouTube tutorial on how to make a little bee. So I made the bee and I was like, okay, this is not as bad as, I don't know, like, practice obviously makes perfect. But I made the bee and I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually did this. This is really nice. And then I put it down again and I was like, okay, I made my thing that I wanted to make. This is fine. And then another couple of months went by and it was my cousin's birthday. And I was like, what would be cool if I made them something for their birthday? Mm-hmm. So I made them a plushie and I gave it to them. And like seeing their face like light up being like, you like made this? You made this? And I was like, yeah, I made this with my own two hands. And they're like, no way. And just like seeing that, I was like, whoa, like that is a feeling that I've never felt before. So I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. Like I want to do this like more often kind of thing. So like I was kind of showing my friends and everything like that. And they were like, this is really good. Like, you should make an Instagram. And I was like, no, like, you're crazy. Come on. Like, it's not that good. I'm still a beginner.
So it's your friends who convinced you to go online?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, well, maybe. So then I like posted a couple of pictures and like it got like 3 likes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, people are seeing my art. And I just kept like posting and I started a TikTok as well. And one of my videos went a little bit, not viral, I'd say, but got a lot more views. And then people started DMing me being like, hey, like, I would love to buy this. And I'm like, really? You guys want to buy this? And then, people just messaged me. And then it was getting too much. Like, too many people were messaging me. So I was like, okay, I got to make a website. So I made a website and... the rest is history.
I guess that's something that you have to be prepared for, like scaling up.
Yeah.
Because now everybody wants
exactly
one of your, and there's only one you, right? You don't have a factory. It's just you making all the stuff.
Absolutely. And like, I don't have any previous business experience at all. So it was all like a learning experience for me, which was fun. It was something that I've never thought I would be doing kind of thing. And it was cool for me to even like research how to bookkeep, like how to make sure that my finances are like in proper like order and everything like that. But, it's been fun. It's been a journey for sure.
This would be like the perfect capstone. Spoken as a teacher who teaches capstone. Yeah.
Yeah, but like so much learning and just the way you started is the way a lot of people start, where they're just making it for themselves. And and that first moment where you prove to yourself you could do something, that just kind of got the ball rolling. Once you figured out that superpower,
yeah,
right?
And like when I first started posting as well, I was like, oh my gosh, so many people are already posting. Like this is already an established like niche kind of thing. Like I'm never going to be part of anything bigger kind of thing. And then the more I posted and everything like that, I'm like, wow, anybody can do this and be part of the community. Like it doesn't really matter how many like followers or anything like you have or that you have. Like people are supportive no matter what, which has been so helpful, especially like, you know.
Yeah,
nobody's bringing you down.
I guess it was unexpected because you saw so many crochet videos online, and then yours was there and also getting popularity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's room for a lot of people on there.
Absolutely.
However, I mean, it is a lot of work because, I mean, we have kids here who, you know, when they give their grade 8 presentation about, like, I get them to do, you know, what do you want to do in the future? And some of them are like, well, I want to be on YouTube. I want to be a YouTube influencer. And they have like very little concept of the fact that it is work.
Oh, yeah.
It is a lot of work. So what are some of the things that people might not know about what you do in order to create a following and to keep up with that kind of stuff and to deal with sales? And you also have put some of your stuff at one point, or maybe still now, in an actual brick and mortar store, right?
Yeah. Well, social media, it's interesting because some days are a lot easier than other days, you know, but it's just coming up with ideas for me. Because not that I'm making longer form content like on YouTube or anything like that. Like I usually make kind of anywhere from 5 to 30-second videos on Instagram or TikTok kind of thing. But it's just coming up with ideas, being relevant, you know, because a lot of the algorithms nowadays really depend on you following the trends of like specific audios and stuff like that. But it is a lot of work, especially, I'd say because I am kind of the face of my business. So I am like a lot of what I promote kind of thing. So it's kind of making sure that like my plushies are kind of new and I'm not sharing the same thing over and over and over again. Because I mean, I've been doing this for about 4 years now, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, like, how do I still remain relevant, you know? But it's still just
plus
fun
this
for
is
me.
not like full time for you.
No.
You've got other things going on, which we'll talk about later. But I can imagine like if you're getting a lot of attention, you're still having to keep up with these videos, which are still good quality because I've been watching them, and I know lots of people have. Like how do you keep your sanity in terms of getting everything done at the same time?
It was interesting because I actually did another interview and they were like, oh, what is the like hardest part for you? And for me, like it sounds kind of like weird to say, but like being addicted to social media, because I need to watch content in order for me to make content, it seemed like. Because like I would be like watching and trying to like find the perfect like sound or audio to use kind of thing. And I'm like,
you watch other stuff to get new ideas?
Exactly. And not that like I'm copying them or anything like that, but just like being like, okay, like how can I make my own like spin on it or whatever. So dealing with that, because I would be on my phone, like my screen time would be like 9 hours a day. I'm like, okay, this is a problem. Like I can't be doing this. Like this is not right. So I like definitely put some more boundaries on that, and like I'm a lot better at managing my kind of screen time. But it is hard, especially when you're like making content on social media. Like you're consuming a lot of content on social media, and thankfully like crochet is a very nice community to be part of. But if you're in a kind of different community, it can be very taxing on your mental health.
Because I mean, I guess you're constantly thinking about it. Like for this podcast, I teach here. I got stuff to do. And then whenever I feel like it, I put something out, and it's not regular, which is why I won't ever have a huge following or anything. That's not the point of this. You know, it was always just for fun. I'm not making any money or anything. It's just a school podcast, right?
Definitely.
So the fact that you have to wear so many hats and keep it up in order to be relevant, and that's a bit of pressure, isn't it?
It's interesting because like I am the only person that like manages my social media, my business. So I am like the marketer. I am the like the product maker, the product designer. Like I ship everything. I do like everything behind the scenes by myself.
There's nobody else helping you.
No.
Wow.
My mom and dad kind of help me every once in a while.
Oh,
they
that's
like
nice.
help me because I still learn to crochet kits. So they can help me like ball the yarn up. But other than that, it's all me. And they also help me like when I go to markets, they help me like set up and everything else, everything like that. But other than that, it's only been me, and I don't really like, because for me, it's still just for fun kind of thing. Like this is not my full-time job or anything like that. It's just kind of fun, like side hustle that, you know, it's nice to have like a little bit of extra pocket cash, and it's fun for me like to post online, you know, but
just to get a picture, like what is the process like for you on like a daily or weekly basis in terms of, okay, so you're going to post a video, like you post pretty regularly online, and at the same time maintaining a business of selling the kits and things like that. Like what is like a weekly schedule for you?
Well, it's changed a little bit throughout the last couple of months for me, just because I have started, I wouldn't say it's a full-time job. I work 4 days a week now, so I have 3 days off to like...
You're a dental hygienist.
Yes, I am a dental hygienist, and I started in September. So I'm still kind of figuring out how to like maintain my business as well as work. But on a weekly basis, like when I was doing it full-time in the summer, like I would constantly be thinking about ideas and like new products and new like plushies to make kind of thing. And it's like finding that balance between having an audience that wants to buy your stuff, but also just wants to like be part of the crochet community. So I'm not always, I feel like with businesses, it's hard to maintain like not always hounding the like follower, because they're not customers yet. You know, you're trying to convince them obviously to purchase, but it's a fine line between not being too pushy and then also just like showing like, hey, I'm an artist, like it would be cool if you supported, but support goes in many different ways, especially online. Like even just a like is boosting me in the algorithm, which potentially could lead me to a customer. So it's very different week to week, depending if I have like a market or like before I was in a store called Makers in Richmond Center, which is all like small businesses. And that was very interesting because my products were in very high demand, because every couple of days I would be getting a call and they would be like, Kacie, like your shelf is empty, like come back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm in school full time. Like that was when I was in school.
Right.
And like one of the reasons why I couldn't keep up there is because the like demand was so high, which was good. Like I was not mad about that at all. Like my stuff was selling really well, but it was a little bit challenging.
You found there was more sales.
Keep up.
There's more sales from people walking by and seeing your stuff on the shelf.
Absolutely.
Than online.
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. Like, it was interesting kind of before. Like, I had a lot of orders online. It's died down a little bit. And I haven't been posting as often, obviously. But with that just being in the mall, anybody could, like, be going in there kind of thing and browsing. Whereas online, it's a little bit different.
There's a different way to discover things online than in the mall. Because people are in the mall to buy stuff.
Yeah.
They want a birthday present or a Christmas present, and they walk into Makers and they're looking around. There's some cool stuff in there, and then they see your stuff. Then obviously, if it's good, then they probably want it.
Yeah.
I guess online, you kind of have to capture their attention with fun videos or funny things, or get connected through other people or other sites or something like that, right?
Exactly. And being in there was definitely interesting for me because like I didn't have to do any of the marketing or anything. Like obviously I posted my like shelf and everything like that and promoted my followers to go, but a lot of the people that were buying weren't like previously following me or anything like that. But they did all of the like processing the sales and everything. So I just dropped off my stuff and left and just paid the like rent fee, and that was it for me. So that was like a good process to like have.
What's like, what cut do they take? Like how much do they take? There's a rental fee
yes,
for booking. Like, does it
absolutely.
depend on how many shelves you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
very different depending on like the size of your shelf. So I just had like an entry level shelf, it's called. So it was only 3 levels, and I think it was 3 feet wide, and that was $450 a month.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was like 1/3 of my rent that I was paying to like live in and like an apartment in Vancouver. So I was like, okay, this is like a lot. But they did tell me as well that Richmond was one of the main like high volume customer
Sounds like it.
places. So the rates differ like by location, but I mean, it was good for me at the time because there were so many customers, so I sold all my stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, like even though it was pretty expensive, like that was a pretty steep like
As well, your
cut
like
to my
QR code
value.
and all your social media is there, so you get some connections that way
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
future, right?
yes.
Yeah.
But no, I don't regret doing that at all. Like it was really good at the time. But I did stop just because I wanted to enjoy my final semester of school. Because it was kind of getting a lot, like to maintain finals and everything like that, as well as constantly, because there's no breaks. It seemed like I couldn't have like a break from that because I was paying, and like they were like calling me up being like, hey, like not that they were really pushy or anything like that,
Right.
but I just felt like I wanted to obviously make my money's worth for paying all that money to
Well,
provide.
invested in your success as well,
Yeah.
which is, kind of nice too. I was struck by one of the things you said around, like there's lessons to be learned here. And like a lot of this was really positive. And the one thing for you is you didn't really have any acquisition costs,
No.
which is often like a real
Yes.
bugbear for a business to start up to kind of figure it out because that's where you spend so much money.
Yes.
So if I was to ask you though, what was your best lesson for somebody else to start up? What would you say for you?
For me, I think it's just, when I first started, pricing my items was very challenging for me because I didn't know what like handmade goods were worth. So I was like pricing them like wildly under what they were worth. So just like doing a lot of more, like I wish I did more research at the beginning to like really know what other people were selling handmade items for. And I think that is just a process that all artists go through because when you're new, you're like, oh, but my stuff isn't good as their stuff. Like, I can't be charging this when like, yes. And like, it's a process that I feel like people have to learn over time, but people will pay for handmade goods. So pricing it appropriately is not something to feel guilty for. Because at first I was like, I can't do this because, like I don't want to offend them,
Interesting.
Especially with custom orders for me, because I feel like I always get ripped off with custom orders because I don't know how long they're going to take me. Because people are like, oh, can you make my dog? And I'm like, okay. I think it will probably take me like 4 to 6 hours. So I give them a range now instead of being like, I think this is going to be $30. Now I'm going to be like, okay, I think this is either going to be $30 to $50 and I'll let you know at the end. So that kind of like puts a little more protection on me. But sorry, I'm making so much noise. It's okay. But yeah, that was definitely a learning curve too.
Yeah. Well, and also you
overcome.
can't. You don't know what you don't know, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the fun. But I would say, I think most artists, it probably falls into 2 camps. I think probably rarely does anyone find the sweet spot right out of the gate. You're either probably overpriced because you have a really great, self-confidence, you think this is worth it. Or I think most people, the inclination would be, oh, well, I don't know how this is going to work. And so you probably undersell yourself, your skills.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the other question is I was just thinking, if you become like if one of our listeners becomes really popular at doing something, are you ready for that success? And how far are you willing to take it? Like I don't know what your plans are in terms of balancing, dental hygiene and this side hustle.
Yeah.
Like if it becomes really big, is that what you lean on, or how does that work? And how successful do you want to be? Because I guess it's a trade-off, because you want to be successful because it's something you love to do and it makes money, but at the same time, are you ready to give everything else up to do it, right?
That is a really interesting question. And I'd say 2 years ago, I was like, especially during school, I was like, oh my God, I just want to drop out of school and like pursue this full time. Like, because at the time it was really hard, like school work wise. Like, I was like, oh, I just love doing this so much. I would just love to pursue this. But then my mom was like, hey, we got to come back to reality a little bit. Like, as much as I would love to do this full time, I understand that, especially with social media, it's very up and down. Like, and like, it really depends on how much I want to put effort into it as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to, like, I know, it's hard to post a consistent amount and like making sure that people are seeing your products and making sure everything is up to date and there is products to like sell and everything like that. I've seen a lot of people with crochet getting a little bit burnt out when you're making, like, especially with markets, when you're making the same item over and over and over and over. Like, I love it because it still feels like a hobby to me, where I'm not doing it all the time. Because I was starting to get burnt out when I was doing it full time in the summer because I was going to a lot of markets, and it was like, okay, like it really like grounded me. And this is not to say everybody feels like this or anything, because I know a lot of artists and a lot of my friends do it full time and like love it still. But for me personally, I like that it's a balance. It's not my full time like job or anything like that. It's still fun for me, because a lot of questions I get asked all the time is, oh, do you still enjoy crocheting now that you've like made it kind of into a business? And I always say yes, because I've been crocheting for 4 years and I still love it. But when I was crocheting like 100 frogs in a week, like, I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit repetitive. So, being able to balance it out with like a different job definitely helps.
Right, because
keep it fun for me.
As an artist, you want to be creative and create new things, but then there are the popular things that people make you do, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So, the frogs sell really well. So why wouldn't I make 100 of them, So it's finding that balance for me. But I know some people that love to make, 500 frogs in a week and have no problem with that. So it's just what you feel is appropriate and that works and is stable as well. And so when you're having an off month, like, are you able to get through that, or is it looking a little bit sticky?
What have been your lows in terms of, because I can imagine any small business would be an emotional roller coaster because sometimes it's just not going well, right?
Yeah. For me, it's been during when I haven't been posting, like when I was in school full time. I would kind of like post every once in a while, but not very consistently. And even now, I'm not really posting super consistently. But when I stopped posting videos, I stopped getting orders. Basically, like it's very like it's like correlation kind of thing. Like if I post a video, I'll get an order. If I don't post any videos, I won't get any orders. Like even though like my videos, like I still get likes and everything like that. But not a lot of people will order from like older videos, which is kind of interesting, but
So I guess I wonder if it's tied to this notion of, and don't take this the wrong way. It's almost like with social media, that's like a certain amount of relevance based on the time.
Yeah.
And that, because the question I wanted to ask you is, how would you define success? Because you've got a pretty clear idea what you want, because I don't see where your dental hygiene career was going to be your side hustle based on how you talk about it. You clearly love what you're doing. Yeah. But you have a career ahead of you. So to speak to John's question.
For me, in my small business, success is very different, because for me, success is when I have fun with it. Like when I'm having fun, like I love going to markets and everything like that. The prep is sometimes, because I love to procrastinate, like even during school, I'm like, like the market is in 3 days and I have like 20 items, like I gotta hurry up and make stuff. Sometimes I can be like, okay, like it's not that it's not fun, it's just I need to work like really hard kind of thing. But for me, success is when I'm having like a lot of fun. And it's like the point I made before, especially during markets, like seeing the people light up when they come to your booth and be like, oh my gosh, Kacie, like this is the best booth I've ever seen. Because I spend a lot of time creating my booth to make it visually appealing, and like not even for kids, like for everybody. And you'd be surprised, like the demographic that I have on social media, like when I look at my statistics, like it's all 20+ year olds that follow me. Like
Adults are just bigger kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's face it.
And like it's fun to have like a little plushie on your desk, like just like giving you a little joy, It's So success, a lot of people put, I think, a little bit too much into like numbers, especially on social media. Like, oh, I need to hit like 100,000 followers by this date, like blah, blah, blah. And that can like affect your confidence very, very fast. And as much as I do look at the numbers, you have to like not care, because like, I've heard this a lot of times posting on social media, but it doesn't matter if you get 100,000 views. If nobody's buying your stuff, like it doesn't matter. And if you get like 100 views and like 5 people buy your stuff, that's like, it's the difference, the quality as well,
I think there's an element of like, and it's probably like in some other walks of life, social media is one of these odd little creatures where it takes you a lifetime to build up to be a success, but it takes just a momentary lapse to be an overnight failure. Like it's so cruel that this odd switch, right? Like if I think of my previous careers, that would be certainly apt. Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah. And it's,
So, I mean, the fun goal is a good one to have.
yeah. And I'm lucky and like, I'd say privileged almost to have that be able to be my goal of success,
Right.
like happiness, because I know that is very challenging for people if they are like full time, and if they're not getting the orders, like that's a financial kind of pressure.
They're probably, they have an eye on all the metrics all the time.
Yes. Where me, I'm just, is side hustle is, if I get orders, that's cool. If I don't, that's also cool. Like, it doesn't really bother me as much, but I'm also lucky in the way that even without social media, I can still maintain my business, like with going to markets. And if I wanted to go back to the mall, like they've actually emailed me a couple of times being like, we'd love to have you back. And I'm like, I'm still kind of busy. Like, I'd love to go back. Of
course, you sold out.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
We brought people there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So without social media, I can still maintain my business, which I'm grateful for as well, because there's avenues. And like when I don't feel like posting, I'll like apply to a market. Or when I'm kind of over making 100 frogs in a week, then I'll like focus more online and create new products and stuff like that.
How'd you get into the kits for beginners? Because that's kind of cool. Like you obviously didn't start off with that. You started creating stuff to sell.
Yeah.
But what was the impetus for that idea?
I was getting a lot of comments being like, Kacie, like, can you please make tutorials? All of these, like, oh, can you teach me how to crochet? Or I would get people coming up and be like, oh man, like I would love to be able to like have this as a hobby. And so I was like, well, how can I help people? Like, and also at the time, like my wrists were starting to get really sore from crocheting all the time, like with doing the markets. And I was like, how can I still have a product that doesn't physically hurt me and still like, help people at the same time? So I made a little bee kit. And another problem with crochet is it uses like patterns, they're called, which is basically the instructions on how to make a specific thing. And people would be like, oh, can you do the tutorial for this on how to make this? I'm like, no, like I can't do that because a lot of patterns are paid for and that's their property. Like that's the owner's property, and that's not right when you're doing like a tutorial for somebody else's work. So I made my own pattern. And I like did the whole YouTube like tutorial, and I have everything you need in the kit to like make that. And that's been like really popular at markets too, because they're like, oh my gosh, like I can make all this stuff. That's so cool. And that's like, because some people are like, oh, isn't that threatening like your business if they're making their own plushies? And no, like not as much as people want to start crocheting, people don't want to crochet. Like they just want the products, you know? So it's been fun for me and I've got a lot of good feedback for it. And, you know,
plus you're helping create a community of people who love what you love.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun for me to like share my knowledge, you know, if anybody, like I say in kind of in the kit, like if you have any issues at all, like email me or reach out to me kind of thing and I'll help you. And it's been fun, you know, it's fun to help.
So how do you go about making your own pattern? Because you obviously went from imitation, like learning most things, imitating what somebody else has done, to now like creating your own patterns. Like what was that jump like?
It's definitely like as a beginner crochet, you can't do it. Like it's very, very it's a skill that you develop as you crochet lots more things. But it is an interesting process.
Is this something where you had to like how do you do it? you plan it out on a piece of paper? Like I've seen like I have no idea what I'm looking at when I look at these things.
Yes.
My daughter does some crocheting and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but it looks nice.
Yeah. It's a lot of math actually.
Yeah.
It's a lot of math because I make plushies and it's different for clothes and everything like that, but it's very much you're going to increase, like you're working in rounds, so you're increasing and then you're decreasing and making that into different shapes and everything like that. But, and I don't write a lot of patterns, like I haven't sold any patterns specifically, and that would be a good avenue for passive income. Like a lot of crocheters do that to get a lot of income where they don't need to like do a product every time, which I would, and I have been thinking of ideas of how to, or to be writing patterns, but I just haven't kind of got around to it, and I would love to do it. But it's very interesting because it's very much a trial and error process. Like you'll crochet, write it down and be like, oh, this is not what I want it to look like, and then cross it off and have to start again until you get the shape that you want. If that makes sense. Yeah.
So this is something that you could patent.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of crochet artists sell them on like Etsy or their website for like $5 to $6. If it's like a good pattern kind of thing.
And like you said, and you just keep selling. It's passive.
Yeah, exactly. Which is nice. Yeah. So one day, hopefully, I want to make a tooth pattern.
A tooth pattern?
Yes.
What does that mean?
To make a little like tooth plushies.
Oh, okay.
So for other people to be able to like follow the instructions to make little teeth, I think that would be fun. I don't know how popular that would be. I think it's a little bit too niche, but it would be fun for me.
Well, it's bridging the gap between your two interests.
Yes, exactly.
And the other side of that was, as you were talking, I was like, that'd be kind of a fun corporate gift. If I think of when my corporate life, you would get gifts at meetings and stuff. And one of the ones that was a big hit was they did bobbleheads for our team. And it was ridiculous how good they were, but the technology had dropped, the scaling had dropped the cost of it, so it was actually affordable. But then that would be like a really interesting personalized gift, you know? Come, here's your likeness of you in a crochet.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think
weird.
Yeah, well, I would probably
give
display it at the
else.
front of my class.
Yeah. So how did you get into dental hygiene?
Switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Switching gears, but this is part of you.
Yes, exactly. Transitioning, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always loved going to the dentist. And
what?
I know.
Something
it's really,
few
really
people
bizarre.
have ever admitted.
Yes.
Wait. Okay, so what do you love about going to the dentist?
I just find it so relaxing. Well, okay. I should preface that I've never had like a cavity or any problems or anything like that. So,
you're a good patient.
Yes. So I always loved like chatting with the hygienist, and like everybody was so friendly at my office, and like I never had any issues at all. And originally I wanted to be an orthodontist. Like that was my goal. And then I was like, wow, 10 years of schooling? That's too much. Like I can't do that. So I kind of switched gears a little bit and went to hygiene. And I realized how much I loved hygiene because a lot of people assume that hygienists are only like cleaners. We only clean the teeth kind of thing, which is to the extent true. But we are preventative healthcare, like people kind of thing, which I don't think there's enough of in healthcare, because I'm trying to prevent like gum disease and cavities from happening to you. Whereas a lot of in like overall health and even like dentistry itself, like the dentist is very restorative. Like something happens and then you have to go to the hospital or the dentist or whatever. And then you have a problem and then you need to be fixed. Whereas you're not preventing it from getting fixed. So I really love that. And I also really found it interesting how much our oral health actually affects our overall health, because people forget that oral health is part of our overall health. And I think that's because of like how it's not covered through MSP at all kind of thing. Like it's very, I think people think that it's very like aesthetic, like rather than your actual health. And then you forget that, you know, the plaque in your mouth is bacteria. And if that gets infected, like you have a problem, like, you know. And I kind of fell in love with, you know, how much oral health can affect overall health, and like educating my patients on that, you know, like it can affect your heart health. It's linked to diabetes, Alzheimer's, like, you know, there's so much that they're finding out nowadays. And, you know, that was really interesting to me. And
so when you say you all have always liked going, like this is from when you were young?
Yeah, like I always liked going to the dentist. I didn't, like when I was really young, I didn't think that that was going to be like a career path, but like as high school kind of went on and they're like, hey, like what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I think like teeth are really cool, like really interesting kind of thing. And since probably grade 10, like teeth were always something that I would be wanting to do. And luckily, like coming out of high school, I was able to do like the prereqs because I thought I was going to do the diploma program. And then I was kind of researching and I applied to all the diploma programs, but then I also applied to UBC, which had a degree for dental hygiene. And there's a lot more opportunities kind of outside of clinic, which I really kind of liked, just because I don't see myself working in clinic forever, because it's very hard on the body as a dental hygienist. Like we're looking down, we're using our wrists, our back, you know. You get a lot of muscular,
which you've already used for your crocheting too, right?
I'm like, oh, that's why I haven't been crocheting as much, because I'm scared that it's going to cause like some issues. But I'm slowly getting more like integrative in it, and I haven't been having any issues. Like I've been keeping up with my workouts and stuff like that, which has been helping. But having the options outside of clinic, for example, because people are like, what do you mean by that? A lot of the times. So I could work in like public health or research or business, like selling instruments or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Which I enjoyed having that option, you know, whereas having a diploma, it's very, you can only do clinic. That's it. So I ended up going to UBC for 4 years, and I just graduated in May, and I've been working for 3 months, and it's been lovely. So, you know, where I work is the patients are so nice, and that makes a huge difference as well. Because if every patient is like, wow, I hate coming to the dentist, like that kind of ruins your day. But a lot of the patients are like, hey, I like coming here. So, yeah.
Does your program require you, through your regulatory body, you have to probably keep current on skills? Like you have some learning you have to get, like there's an opportunity for ongoing learning?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have what's called continuing education courses. So we need 75 hours of continuing education courses every 5 years in order for us to maintain our license, which is interesting. Like I like going to those because it keeps you up to date with like really niche topics as well. Like the last one was on oral cancer, and that was really interesting because I haven't seen oral cancer yet, thank goodness, but what to look out for and everything like that is important for us to know.
Because you'd be on the front lines of spotting something like that in somebody's mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one example, a big example for like why we're not just the people that clean your teeth. We are so much more. Like we are looking at, like I've been doing hypertension screening. So I take the like blood pressure, which is not very common in regular practice, but it's like done a lot of research, and it's a perfect time to do a hypertension, like blood pressure screening.
Have you had that done?
I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? At your dentist?
My dentist is top notch.
Wow.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
I've never had that.
Yeah, not a lot of people have, but I'm integrating that. That's what we learned at school. So they were kind of pushing and being like, "Hey, it takes 2 seconds. Like, just do it." And I have had probably 2 or 3 patients where I couldn't do work on them because they are like on the brink of a heart attack, basically, and I have to be like, "Hi, like, your blood pressure is pretty high. I would advise you to go to the hospital immediately," kind of thing. And one time I actually had to walk them to the UBC hospital because their blood pressure was like over 200.
Oh, wow.
So
Basically,
that's
they're
important.
waiting to have a stroke at that point.
Exactly. Like, you don't know what could happen, especially in a dental chair where some people are a little more anxious, and that bacteria can get into your bloodstream and cause issues. So it's good to provide that service. And
That totally makes sense, because I would say I see the dentist more regularly than I see my doctor.
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like every 3 months I
Yep.
see a dentist or a periodontist. I see a periodontist now.
Yep.
And that's a regular thing. Whereas my doctor, it's like, it's
Yeah.
not that. It's irregular.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of people or not only, but like see their hygienist a lot more than their doctor
sure.
for
sure.
various reasons. But so we do a lot more other than cleaning, and one of those also being oral cancer screenings. So just looking at the tissues, like some hygienists just go right into it, but I'm very, I like to look at all the cheeks and like the tongue, the back of the mouth, just to make sure there's no like lesions or anything suspicious kind of going on. And I've also seen a little bit of suspicion, like it wasn't any like cancer or anything like that, but very suspicious, and it's important to check.
Right. And at least the person can get it checked out
Yes.
if you give them that
Exactly.
advice. And if it's nothing, then it's nothing. But at
Exactly.
least
So
check it out.
yeah, we do a lot more than people kind of think, but I've been loving it. It's very different from school, which I'm sure you can assume. But at UBC, we had 2.5-hour appointments, and we would need multiple appointments, especially when we were in like young, or like second or third year. We would need like 4 appointments, 2.5 hours long. These people are like, and some of the patients were like, "I have to come back again." Like, I'm so sorry. But you have to remind them that this is an education facility and you're only paying like $35. And a lot of them knew that. But some of them were a little bit, you had to talk to them and be like, "Hey, sorry, but I want to give you the best care that I can," kind of thing. Yep. And it just took so much time with the instructors checking and everything like that, because there was only one instructor to about 5 to 6 kids. So you would be waiting a lot. And then in the real world, you get an hour appointment, which is very different from UBC. And that was a little bit of an adjustment to get used to. And I was very fortunate because the practice that I started working at, I told them that I was a new grad, and I was like, "Hey, could I have any buffer time in between my patients, just in case I like run late or like I can't sterilize my instruments in time," kind of thing. And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I had
Please
like
sterilize
basically
the instruments.
yes, exactly.
Seems kind of important.
Yes. So having that hour and a half the first month really truly was magnificent, and like it got me way better into the flow of how the office operated and how to interact with the dentists and everything like that.
Sure.
Because my office is pretty big, like it has 6 dentists, which is not common.
Wow.
A lot of dentists dental
huge.
offices only have 1.
Yeah.
But ours used to be 3 separate offices, and then they kind of came together to be a mega office, and now there's 6 dentists. So
Given dentistry has changed so dramatically that it's capital equipment intensive, right? And so you need a certain amount. I mean, yeah.
How many chairs are there?
I believe there's probably about 15 or 16 chairs.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there is 11 to 12 hygienists that work there. And I was actually really lucky as well, because I got an email from my professor after I graduated, and I was like, they said, "Hey, Kacie, like, hope you're doing well after graduation and everything like that. I have a friend in North Van that would love a hygienist and like you would be great there. And I was like, ooh, like I just moved back to North Delta. Like I'm not going to North Van every single day over like, what is that, 3 bridges? No. So I was like, oh, like if you have anything close to Surrey, like Delta area, let me know. And she was like, oh my gosh, like I do have a friend in White Rock that is hiring and she could mentor you. And I was like, oh, White Rock is not that far. Like it's a little bit far, but it's manageable. So I have a mentor at the office that I'm working at. So that was perfect for me, especially as a new grad, like having somebody to talk to and not feeling like, you know.
Now is that,
you know.
is that the normal way they do things? No?
No, like a lot of my friends struggled a lot to find a job, and I feel kind of bad for them. That they had to go through this whole process of like, you know, working interviews. Like working interviews as a new grad is extremely scary because we can barely, you know, like we don't know anything about your office. And we're like, like 5 months out from when we graduated. A lot of people like took the summer off.
Yeah.
And like, it's like riding a bike. Once you start, you're back into it. But just, you know, the initial anxiety of being in a new place and, you know, it's hard to do a working interview. And so they struggled a lot. And even just meshing well with the dentist as a hygienist, like if you're not getting along with the dentist, that's going to be a problem. Because there's a lot of dentists that unfortunately don't value healthcare as much as business or more over business. Like the business takes priority kind of thing, which is not where you want to be going kind of thing, like as a patient or a hygienist.
So like take less time, see more patients kind of thing?
Overdiagnose.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Spending less time with patients.
X-rays for everyone.
Exactly. Like taking x-rays every year is not, you know, what the standard is, but some offices do it. We do it every 2 years, if you're wondering, you know. If your dentist is taking an x-ray every year, you should probably go to a different office, unless you're high cap. Like if you're getting a lot of cavities, then that's like should be kind of prescribed for every year. But if you're not getting a lot of cavities or anything like that, and they're taking x-rays every year, like they're gouging you. So, you know, it's different things like that are challenges that new grads, like especially, have to overcome. And you have to like mesh well in the office and everything like that. So I was very, very, very lucky to kind of get that.
And to have a mentor when you start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if I have any questions, she's right next door. Like I can ask her and there's no issues at all. And, you know, it's been so nice and just less stressful to know that, you know, like, oh, if a patient had their like pacemaker placed 6 weeks ago, like, can I do treatment? I'm not too sure. Like, because UBC didn't specifically say a date on like, you know, so then just like quickly popping over to be like, hey, like, is this okay? So like that like helps, you know, and it saves time as well.
Yeah.
So as you were training and learning at UBC, there's a certain intimacy around dentistry because of proximity and the like.
Yes.
And here's complete stranger. I think about the first, like the practice I'm at, they new hygienist, and she's amazing. But I just thought how weird it was that like our first points of contact were with her sticking her fingers in my mouth, checking my gums and the like. And I just thought it's kind of an odd little dance, right? Yeah. Like, hi, I'm Dave, and Dave, I know my she like, yeah. But that's kind of part of like, how do you get to that part where you feel comfortable enough? Because it is like, you know,
absolutely, it's a very intimate job, and it's definitely not for everybody, but I love it. I've had no issues with it, but it takes a lot of trust for the patient to be able to trust you, because it is very, you know, we're close, and, you know, I'm doing work in your mouth, and that's not comfortable for a lot of people. It's very exposing almost, you know. But I always try my best to make the like patients as calm and comfortable as possible. So one of the things that I always ask my patients, because obviously all the patients that I see are new to me and they're probably nervous seeing me for the first time. Just a simple question is there anything I can do to make your appointment more comfortable for you? And that might just be like giving them a pillow, to have behind their neck. Or so, like one of my patients I think she had a little bit of kind of past trauma. Like she was like, can you only be on my right side? And I was like, okay, yeah. Like I can definitely only be on the right side. Like just like things like that to make the experience better for everybody. Because if you're anxious, that almost makes me anxious. Like it leaks
makes
into
your job more
yeah.
difficult if they're anxious.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So a lot of patients that have like on their chart like dental anxiety, like just talking to them and just like being like, hey, I'm just a regular person just like you as well. We're gonna do this, but it doesn't have to be like a scary thing or anything like that. And one of the like big things in hygiene is preventing kind of pain from happening. So if you're having like pain, like I can give you some numbing or like, there's things that we can do to overcome these challenges to make everybody feel comfortable, which is very important to me. Because even one of my patients the other day, she needed, because we can do a local anesthetic, where like we're freezing the teeth basically. Because sometimes like people have really sensitive teeth and even like the cleaning kind of aggravates that. Yeah. And I gave her 4 injections and I was like, this is a lot. Like, are you sure? And she was like, yep, like I've been doing it for years. Like, this is what I want. And she's like, I'm sorry. Like, it's probably such a burden for you to like do all this anesthetic. And I'm like, no, like it's not a burden to me at all because I want to make sure that you're feeling comfortable. Like that's important to me. Like that's a value that I have because if you're comfortable, I'm comfortable and everybody's happy. Like there's no problems. So it's just doing things like that to make the patient,
Well, and it's like
trust you.
Dentistry is so experiential, right? Like you live some of past appointments.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
I had a terrible appointment in the military, and it came up where I needed to get a root canal done on very short notice, and they couldn't freeze the tooth. I wouldn't recommend that on anyone,
Yeah.
because they basically, bless the guy who had to hold me to the chair while they took the tooth. But and it's hard to let go of that. And I still, to this day, when I'm getting my teeth cleaned, even though they're amazing and they polish nicely because I'm sensitive to heat and cold. And so they're but I literally find myself with the 2-handed Siberian death grip on the armrest, even though there's no need to. And I have to think, relax. Okay. So very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the root canal was brutal.
Oh, okay. And that's true. Like, dentistry has come so far from before. Like dentists didn't even wear gloves at like 70 years ago kind of thing. Like there's no infection control whatsoever. And like nowadays there's so much more. And even like if you feel anxiety at the dentist, just letting the provider know, just being like, hey, like I'm a little anxious. Like there's so many options for us to give you to make you feel better. And like a lot of people have had past kind of traumas at the dentist. Like that is a place that a lot of kind of problems occurred, and being able to overcome that takes a lot of work. And I'm always going to be the one kind of helping that because I see the patient, for basically 55 minutes out of the hour. Like the dentist usually just comes in to do the check if they're doing like a recall, and that's like 5 minutes maybe. So like I'm seeing the patient for all of that time. So it's kind of on the hygienist to make sure that the patient is feeling comfortable, unless it's dental work kind of thing. Like if they're getting a filling, I'm not going to be there, but
it's the little lies we tell hygienists. This is why whoever invented those new toothpicks that they're flexible and you can just push them into your gums and instead of having to floss, that person I hope made millions, because I actually regularly floss my teeth now, and I used to hate because it was such a hassle. I've got really tight teeth, and they'd be like, Dave, did you floss? And I'd look them in the eye and say, not as often as I'd like, which is really code for,
never.
And they'd be like, in that very kind, not patronizing way, well, keep at it. And yet all the while I'm thinking, she's like, you're lying. There's no way I can see the plaque and build up here.
Yeah.
I use a water pick.
Very good.
And floss.
Yep.
You're an overachiever, though, Kevin. We know it.
It takes some time. It takes some time.
Yeah.
So, have you had any experiences being sitting beside somebody like any bad experiences in your job so far?
it that's
For
an
legal
interesting
reasons, you're allowed to talk about.
No,
Who was it? And when?
their exact name and date. So I don't know. It's definitely been interesting working in the real world because you have to deal with the problems. Like before, if there was a problem at school, you'd be like, hey, I'm just going to grab my instructor and they would be dealing with that. But now that I'm in the real world, it's me. Or like I could talk to the dentist, but not very often that I do. But a lot of people don't or have different expectations. And I completely understand.
Like
But
you're disgruntled?
kind of coming in with being like, hey, you're going to do exactly this. And like, that's it. Like, that's the way
nothing
it's going to
else.
be.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And, you know, we have to like diagnose kind of gum disease sometimes. And if I see that there is problems occurring and they're only wanting kind of like, you know, the regular, like in quotations, the regular cleaning, like, and I see that there's problems, it's like hard for me when that happens because I know they need more, but they don't understand it. And I can explain it to the cows come home or whatever that explanation is. And like, it's just hard when people have those expectations that there's like no kind of breaking that. There's also times where, and it's a lot of times with like older people, which is understandable, but they haven't been to the dentist in a couple of years. Something happened. Maybe they like fell down, they broke their hip or something like that. Had other health issues, which is completely understandable. And the dentist was kind of on the back burner. But now they're finally coming in and they have a lot of buildup. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, like before I even start, I let them know. And I'm like, hey, we're probably going to need a couple of appointments to kind of catch you up. And they're like, no, like you're going to do all of the cleaning. And they like are very adamant. And that is frustrating, like, as well, because, like, it's the same kind of token where it's like, oh my gosh, like, I want to provide you the best care that I can, and you're just saying no to it, basically. And that's fair. Like, that's consent. You know, I'm not going to do anything more than you're consenting to. But it's just kind of, it's the attitude that they come in with. And you're like, oh, man.
It's the disconnect of, even though I haven't been able to come in for years, and it took years to create whatever problem you're trying to correct, they would like it, you know, the silver bullet is corrected in one visit and then I'm done. This perception. Does your practice use the Buzzy Bee?
What is that?
Oh, okay.
What is that?
So this is like, okay, this is a game changer. So I have two young daughters at the time, and we brought them to the dentist. And my one daughter had some cavities, and she said, oh, you know, we'll have her back for an appointment. And so I brought her in because at the time I was a rep, so I had a really flexible schedule. So I bring her in, and the dentist said, well, we're going to use Buzzy Bee on her. And I was like, okay, what's Buzzy Bee? Well, I'm going to ask, like, want to know. And it's a little cold compress that vibrates in the shape of a bee, and it's meant as a distraction and a freezing tool, modest, but to distract I love my daughter. She's 17. She's going to hate that I tell this story, but literally she'll be like, well, if I have a cavity, I'm asking for Buzzy Bee.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm like, I'd ask for Buzzy Bee. That looked amazing, but it would distract. And so for me, having had not a lot of dental work done in my time, I don't mind the needle part. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And so I can remember the military dentist, you know, like waving what looked like a harpoon in front of me. And I'm like, for the heavens, like, where did this thing
put that away.
Yeah. What is that thing? You know, not exactly current as far as, you know, the newest technologies at the time. Now my dentist is very, you know, discreet. But yeah, I was always like, geez.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that, but I've seen a lot of research of them kind of coming up with different ways to kind of numb patients, like quote unquote numb, without using anesthetic, like local anesthetic and kind of, you know, the regular freezing. And I remember reading one study that was looking into something kind of similar to that, where it's like, basically, it looked like a mini massage gun almost, and it would go in your mouth and it would like vibrate extremely fast on your tissues, and somehow that would like numb the area. So I guess that does make sense that they're using that as like
I wonder if it's
a
because of
junction.
how it perfuses. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. But I'm glad that there was something that helped her. And,
Yeah, well,
you know,
and I guess it just distracts her, and then they put whatever the local in, then you get the needle, and it's all fine. But yeah, but she was adamant, like, that's it. I got to have Buzzy Bee. And I was like, that's pretty brilliant for kids.
Yeah.
Everyone gets Buzzy Bee.
Well, one new innovation are the sunglasses that you wear now as a patient.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember when there wasn't sunglasses, and now I'm wearing sunglasses and watching, TV on the ceiling.
Yeah.
which is something. Didn't
You go
have
to
that
the
before.
good practice.
No, I don't. These are
yeah.
adults in there.
The safety glasses are definitely for safety because they're even like I by accident, and it wasn't a sharp instrument or anything. It was the mirror, but just like hit the glasses. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that the patient was wearing the glasses.
Fair.
Because it can be dangerous. Like if that was a sharp instrument and that's right in your eye, that is problematic.
I guess it's also for the bright lights.
That could be as well. It's
they're
a
sunglasses
little bit
usually.
relaxing,
Yeah, it
Some
is.
people take off
I
the
don't mind.
glasses and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
back to reality.
I don't mind looking cool as a patient.
Yeah, exactly. It's all fashion,
Yeah. So, just talking about your start of both your dental hygiene and crochet,
Yes.
and those two passions of yours, do you have time for anything else?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that because now that I've started working, it's just really interesting to me because I've been in school, like I did 6 years of post-secondary school after high school and no breaks in between that. And now that I started working, well, other than like I took the summer off after I graduated, but working and coming home, like my first week, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this newfound time? Like I didn't know I had time, because it was always like, oh, I have to study for quizzes or I have to do this assignment or, there's always something. And if I'm not doing that, I feel the guilt from not doing that. And so kind of overcoming that and being like, wow, this is nice. Like I can actually pick up other hobbies kind of thing. So I've been playing my Nintendo Switch more, which I haven't picked up for like 2 years. And I've been playing my little games on there, which has been fun.
Animal Crossing.
No. Actually, Zelda. I've never played Zelda before.
Breath of the Wild
Yes.
and Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely. Never played it before, but one of my friends, actually one that I reconnected with from high school, and we were like we were friends in high school, but we met each other at the gym and we're like, hey, and not we like hang out, but he was like, hey, like, have you ever played Zelda before? And I was like, no. He's like, borrow this, try it out. And I've been loving it. Like, I'm excited to come home and play it, honestly. It's been fun.
You're officially in Kung's wheelhouse right now.
Amazing.
Oh, very good.
You've never played this, Yule?
No, and I knew it. As soon as you said that, you took a deep pause, and this sort of serene look glazed over you.
Well, all I
Kung
do
has
in that
reached
game,
nerdvana.
all I do in that game is walk around, cut the grass with my sword, jump off things and glide.
Yes, because I was
relaxing.
very against free world games. I'm like, there's too many opportunities for me. Like, no, I don't really, I like Mario, like New Super Mario Bros, which is what I played most of the time. But then I tried it out and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, where have I been all this time?
Well, it's open world in the best sense of open world, as in you can literally go anywhere.
Absolutely.
And you can go right to the end boss if you wanted to try that, if you wanted to. I don't know how they've done it. And when Tears of the Kingdom came out, there were so many people from other companies like Sony and Xbox congratulating Nintendo and analyzing the gameplay. I saw some video game designers going, how do they do that? It's so complicated and complex in this stage where you can build stuff, you can do all these things and still be glitch free, which is unbelievable.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. And I can't believe I had such the stereotype about it. And then now that I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, wow. I look forward to it. It's so fun and it's challenging enough to when you die, you're like, oh man, but hey, I want to keep going and try to defeat it. And then when you get that rush of serotonin when you actually kill the little boss guy or do whatever.
Or cut grass.
Exactly. Get your swords out and cut that grass.
Is that your metaphor, Kung?
No, I literally cut grass with an axe.
As one is wont to do.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I've been playing my little games, which has been so much fun. and then hanging out with friends so much more, which has been lovely. Because one of my really good friends actually, actually 3 of my best friends, I've known each other since elementary school, and we were friends all throughout high school as well. And 6 years later, post-secondary or post graduation from high school, we're still best friends. She was kind of on the exact same journey as me. She was a nursing student, and she got a job as a nurse, and now we're like finally working, and we have set schedules so we can hang out a lot more. And just like seeing like even my other friends that I haven't really like seen for a while, just like reconnecting with people that I kind of like not forgot about, but just busy, you know what I mean, with school or whatever. And it's been lovely to spend time with like my mom, because I moved back in with my parents, and spending time with my mom has been lovely because I moved out for 2 years when I was going to UBC, because we have a really good relationship. So that has been lovely. Today I started a puzzle because I love puzzles, and during this time I would always do puzzles. It's kind of a tradition almost, because I would procrastinate from studying for finals, because during this time was always finals, by doing puzzles. And now I can do a puzzle with absolutely no thoughts in the world kind of thing. But yeah, it's just like trying out kind of new things. Like I love, like I'm back almost in 2020, it feels like, where I can try new things as well. Like I've been wanting to get into sketching and like coloring recently. Okay. So there, it just feels like there's so many doors that can be opened to do with my time now. And
it's kind of nice to have that steady job going.
Yes.
Right? And,
yes.
And you have this other side hustle, which you still love, which is awesome. And just keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then still have time left over for everything else that you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like people are always ask me as well, is like, how did you balance school?
Right.
And like small business? And it was tough for sure.
But when you look at all the things that you have to do for that small business, if you made a list, anybody would look at that and go, that's impossible.
Yeah.
And if you were to look back now, knowing what you know, would you have started? Like that's it. No, it's a fair question.
Oh, absolutely. Like actually one of the experiences that got me kind of even more motivated almost was in my 3rd year of school. It was a little bit challenging. Like a lot of personal things happened to me like that previous year. And I was like, okay, I don't have any responsibilities other than school. I'm putting every single egg that I have into school. And that burnt me out so fast. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like on the brink of dropping out even. Like I was struggling. And I'm like, okay, I can't do that. I need other hobbies and other things to do. So that like motivated me even more to like be able to balance school with something else, and finding that outlet of crocheting and like even just like learning how to run a business made my life so much more like, what's the word? Like just fulfilled, it was like, oh, I have like a purpose, and that made me love school even more in my 4th year, because I wasn't doing it all the time. Like anything you do all the time, like it's not, you need balance. I learned very quickly that you need balance in your life, and having balance, and even like working out, for example, like doing something consistent and showing up for yourself kind of thing. Like that is so important, especially for like mental health as well. And like finding that balance. It's all about balance. If you do something too much, you're gonna kind of run it into the ground, I think. So like you asked me before if I would ever do it full time, and I don't think I want to do it full time. Like as much as I love it as like a side thing, So yeah.
I was what was that?
Oop.
Was that a mic?
That was my phone, sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I was sending Yule some stuff about you because he's never met you. This is the first time.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew, I didn't teach you at Delview.
No.
I saw you around all the time with your friends, but I never actually taught you. So I knew a few things just by watching your social media and your career. And I did find an article from Delta Optimus about Crohn's disease that you suffer from.
Yep. And
it was almost like a PSA that I don't know what how they talk to you for the article, but it was actually quite interesting and inspiring to other people. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I thought
very
it was
open about it. So I was also diagnosed in 2020, kind of like a couple of months before I started crocheting, and that I'd say was also one of the reasons that I started crocheting is kind of a coping mechanism from being diagnosed. But I was diagnosed in 2020. I knew that there was something wrong, kind of because there was kind of symptoms that were coming up. Like I had some blood in my stool, and I was like, "Oh, I know that that's not regular." So I went to the doctor right away, and I was very, very fortunate. Yeah, exactly. My mom is very like, if there's a problem, we need to go. And it was COVID, so I had a phone appointment, and I'm like, "Hey, this is happening," and the doctor was like, "Okay, you probably have hemorrhoids," and I'm like, "Okay." So like I got this cream. And I tried it out for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, like this is not hemorrhoids. Like this is more than something kind of happening. And so I called the doctor up again, and he's like, okay, we're like booking you in for a colonoscopy like next month. Like there's a cancellation, you're getting in. And I was like, okay. So I went for the colonoscopy, drugged up. I don't know if anybody's had a colonoscopy here, but
did one last year.
Yeah, we're veterans.
Yep. So the process and the prep that goes into it as well.
Oh gosh.
But
That's a podcast within a podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
It's quite the experience, people.
Yep.
So yeah, I've had them multiple times. So
Oh, okay. You're a veteran.
Yes. Yep. But I remember so vividly being so just because you're not fully under during the colonoscopy. You're kind of just like
You're funny.
Yeah, and I was like done the procedure, kind of had my clothes on, feeling like a little bit nauseous kind of thing because I haven't eaten, And the doctor comes over and she's like, okay, you have Crohn's disease. Here's a pamphlet, and then leaves. I was like, oh.
Nice.
And I was like,
nice bedside
manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Here's some parting gifts.
Yes. And I remember just sitting there, just waiting for my mom. And I'm like, wow, I have no idea what Crohn's disease is, like 0% knowledge of what this means for me. And so, like, my mom, like, went home, did so much research, all this stuff, and she's like, you're dead. Like, you're a goner. And I was like, oh, perfect. She didn't say that, but I felt like it, like, basically, like, the doctor, like, And so I was like, oh. And then I was, like, in denial. Like, I was like, okay, this is not, I'm invincible. Like, I'm 20 years old. I can't have this disease. Like, a chronic disease at 20 years old, please. So I was in denial for probably like a couple of months. And then the doctor is like, hey, Kacie, like we got to get you on medication to like deal with this. So how that worked was a little bit different. Because with the BC government, you have to kind of jump through some hoops with the medications. So I had to get prescribed.
I could explain the process.
Steroids first to kind of prove that
they don't work well.
That they don't work. Yep. And then I could go to the good medication. So finally I was on the biologics and been on since for, I think it's been like 3.5 years. And I initially, like the medication that I take is supposed to be every 2 months. And so we did every 2 months for, I think, 4 or 6 months. And then the doctor was like, not seeing too much improvement. Like, let's go to every month. Like, let's increase the frequency. Yep. And that has been perfect for me. Like, the disease has been in remission ever since. Like, that was the only biologic that I started.
You on Remicade?
I take Entyvio. Okay. It's a little bit newer.
Yep.
But
newer generation. Better side effect profile. You have to go in and get a TB screen. And
yes. Do you have? Or are you familiar with?
It's from pharma.
I used to work in pharma.
Oh, okay.
My previous life.
Got you.
And I used to help drugs get listed.
Yes. Okay, so you know all about it. Yeah.
So it's good.
But yeah, so thankfully I've been in remission ever since. And at first, like I was saying, like I was definitely in denial. Like I didn't want to talk to anybody about this because like you have a poop disease? Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's not somebody that you want to, like,
right? Like, do you have to get infused monthly or is it?
Monthly.
And so what clinic, do you go local to a clinic?
Yeah. It's like 15 minutes away and I go for like an hour.
Yeah. But that's considered fast because it used to be before it was longer.
Oh, yeah.
And so can you imagine like it's just you already have it. Now you get to live it.
Yeah.
And now you get to manage it. It's just sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah.
No, I have a lot of respect for you, Kacie, because that's not an easy road to.
Yeah. It was definitely hard to deal with as a 20-year-old. It kind of humbled me a lot in like a lot of different ways. I'm like, okay, like I'm not indestructible. Like things can happen to me, and thankfully I had a good support system, and like a lot of people kind of being like, hey, like you're gonna be okay. Like even if it's a chronic disease, like you're gonna be fine. And
So are you generally fine with most foods, or is there certain things you just avoid?
I'm so lucky because
that is good. Okay.
my doctor was kind of like, you have moderate to severe Crohn's, but it's in a place in your intestines where food doesn't really affect it.
Oh, yay.
I have to kind of be careful, like a little bit with like spice and like too much alcohol kind of, aggravates it a little bit. But overall, like, because some people that I talk to are like, I can't eat all of this food. And like, if I even like, because I am so interested, especially like, because I see everybody's medical history working in dental hygiene. So I've seen a couple of people with Crohn's and colitis, and I always ask because I'm interested because I have it, and I always let them know that I have it. But even like one of the patients that I saw, they were like, I can't do the fluoride because it like triggers my Crohn's so bad.
Well, what a blessing they know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than trying to like Sherlock Holmes that one later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pretty early with my diagnosis, like when like I started my medication and everything like that, I'm like, man, like I need to talk to somebody like that has, this disease, because I knew nobody that had Crohn's or colitis or any sort of kind of inflammatory bowel disease. And so I looked it up online, and I was like, Crohn's and colitis, like seeing if there's any like Facebook groups or something that I could be a
Crohn's
part of.
Club.
Yes, exactly. And so I found Crohn's and Colitis Canada, which is like a nonprofit that raises money to find a cure for Crohn's and colitis and IBD. And so I started volunteering with them pretty soon after. Like I think it was 4 months after my diagnosis, so I was pretty new. And at the time they had like support groups, so everybody there would be like a main question, and then everybody would kind of go around if you're comfortable sharing your experience with particular things. And like that helped so much, just knowing that I wasn't alone. And not that anybody, like everybody was pretty much over like 40, and I was the youngest one, but it helps so much. It doesn't matter like the age range or anything like that. Just connecting with somebody else that has the same experiences. And Crohn's and colitis is a little bit different because it does not affect everybody the same way. Our experiences are drastically different, some people, but just being part of the community has like helped so much, and being able to volunteer. And I was the honorary chair at one of the Gutsy Walks, which is like a fundraiser that we do kind of annually.
Gutsy Walk.
Yes, called Gutsy Walk.
That is a great name.
Yeah. And just like being the face of like the fundraiser for Vancouver was it was truly such an honor, because I only had it for 2 years where other people have had it like for 60 years, but just like sharing your story, and people like,
Is your gastro local?
Pardon me?
Is your gastro local?
Yeah.
Okay.
She is very good, but just like the first kind of interaction with her was a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
And like she probably said more maybe, but I was just like on a different planet, so I don't remember anything else. But she's been really, really supportive, and like saw me in the like honorary chair position and everything like that. And she's like congratulated me on graduating and everything like that. So she has been very nice. But
Gastros are fun people. As odd as that sounds, they're generally a lot of fun to call on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's random fun facts with Yule. Yeah. There you have it.
Gastros are fun people. I want to find me some gastros then.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's a journey for sure, but I'm really lucky that I was diagnosed really fast and I got on a medication that worked, because that is not the same experience for everybody. But I truly do believe that it's getting a lot better, especially in Canada, because we do have one of the highest diagnosis rates. And I think that is because we have better screenings. So
100%.
It's been, it's been interesting for sure having a chronic disease like over the years. but it's made me stronger as a person for sure. And it is like, as much as people are like, I don't want to like identify as my disease or disorder or whatever, but I do, because it's part of me and I embrace it. You know, I was embarrassed before, but I'm like, you know what? If people have a problem with it, that's their problem, you know? And
well, and I think the difference is, Kacie, you sound like you're not letting it define you.
No.
You're defining how it.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
and that's a telling difference, right?
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah. And I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So I want to be that voice talking about it. And like, I've talked about it a little bit, like through my small business, because I have a little bit of a like platform on there, and just spreading awareness, because, you know, as a 20-year-old, I had no idea what it was. So I'm sure there's other people that don't know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, it's kind of an inflammatory disease that affects your intestines. And it's autoimmune. So it happens just out of the blue. There's no really known triggers or any kind of things that trigger it to start, but they think it's more genetic and in addition to environmental. But, you know, it's it's different disease because it's different for everybody, whereas kind of diabetes is, you know, you have high blood pressure or high blood sugar and it's manageable. But with Crohn's and colitis, it's a little different because it's especially with Crohn's, it can be anywhere in your whole intestine. So managing that is different for everybody. But it's been interesting for sure. And I like spreading awareness, and a lot of people reach out to me and be like, hey, like, I know somebody that has Crohn's and or colitis, and just it's a conversation starter as well, you know. And
it's probably more prevalent than most people realize.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one of the, because it's been allowed to just sort of occupy the shadows because there's elements of shame and like, I don't want to talk about it. But it's a real service that you can, and that's great because somebody's going to hear this and think, okay.
Yeah.
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 Good for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've always been open about it and love talking about it, and doing the honorary chair was truly, you know, it was so fun for me, and just seeing how far I've came from like being in that hospital bed, just like being told that I have this disease that I had nothing about, to being like able to speak about it and spread awareness and like fundraise for it. It was just like surreal, truly. Yeah. Like being kind of like in that moment being like, wow, like, okay. And like, that was my decision to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you have to, when you get diagnosed with these diseases, not that everybody does or anything like that, but you have to take control, or else it will take control of you very fast. And it's all about attitude. Because, like, if you have a bad attitude about something, like, especially with your health, it's not, you know, it's not good for your body, truly. Like, there's research on that. Like, because if you have a bad attitude, you're going to continuously get into the cycle of perpetuation, and, you know, that doesn't help anybody. So if you have a positive attitude and you just try your best, that's the best thing you can do, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have the right attitude with everything that you do. And it was really good to have you in today talking about all these things that I never got to talk to you about before, never having taught you, and, you know, just discovering you online. Hey, Kacie, I remember her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking about crocheting to dental hygiene to your disease, which you're very open about and trying to inform other people. Super inspirational. So thanks a lot for doing that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Happy to.
Yeah. And come again.
I will.
We love repeat guests.
Okay.
That was good fun.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what's next for you.
Yeah. I'm excited as well. Who knows?
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you very much.
Take care.
You too.